Welcome to Charter Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. I am glad that Mike Gardner is here. He is a member of the Riverside City Council. And sir, I'd like to speak with you about the weather. Recently in the Antelope Valley, the rains were so dramatic that there was flooding that looked biblical. The grapevine was closed.
Yes.
And here we are thinking about drought, and then 10 seconds later, there are mudslides. This is, I'm very conflicted by all of this, sir.
Well, it's a phenomenon called El Nino.
Right.
Warm ocean currents that come north, and it changes the weather pattern.
It does.
And often that means that you get lots and lots of storms. Southern California can get a weather pattern much more like what you'd expect in Portland or Seattle.
Right.
And we're not used to that. We're not built for that. We don't adapt well to it.
And have you felt the humidity? I mean, it feels like we're in Florida at times.
It really does.
It's a very odd feeling.
And we get thunderstorms occasionally here in the Riverside area, but usually it's a couple claps of thunder and a few bolts of lightning and it's done.
Right.
And it's been much more intense, lots more lightning, lots more thunder.
And let me ask you about the fire danger, and then I want to go back to mudslides. Here we are in Riverside County, which has been very dry, and with dryness, you have the greater chance of ignition with lightning bolts and lightning strikes.
You do. That's always a concern. We had a storm just last evening.
Right. Recently,
And had a number of, lots of palm trees in Southern California.
Of course.
And they're tall, and they tend to get hit, and they burn like a Roman candle.
I can imagine. My question is, what is the city of Riverside doing with these dual dangers? The danger of fire and then the danger of mudslide. Seems like an oxymoron to have those two in one sentence, but they really are both bona fide risks.
They are, truly. We're doing a number of things. First, we are making sure that all of our drainages and storm drains and things are cleaned out and ready. And,
so that's on the mudslide front.
Well, and water flow. Because if you have debris blocking a drainage channel, the water won't flow as freely. We also are on the Santa Ana River in Riverside, and there is always some water in it, but this winter there's likely to be a lot of water in it. And we have a population of homeless people who live in the river bottom. So we are contacting those folks and urging them for their own safety to move out, and we've got services. Yeah, we have shelters, we have housing for those who will take it. Many won't for a variety of reasons. The population of River Bottom tends to be what we call shelter resistant or service resistant. And they need to find a safer place to be. We also, our fire department has a swift water rescue team, and when it begins to rain hard anytime, they have extra equipment, water rescue equipment that they put on all the fire engines, ropes and life vests and things like that. And then they mobilize the swift water team and have them ready to roll in a shorter time then.
What about capturing some of this water? Does Riverside have the ability through the Santa Ana River or otherwise to create some type of diversion so the water doesn't wind up in Orange County and out into the Pacific Ocean?
We don't at the moment. There is a plan in kind of mid-stage that our water utility has to build a rubber dam that would divert. It's upstream of Riverside in the edge of the city of Colton, which is right next door to us. And the rubber dam would be inflated. When you get storm runoff, it would divert water from the river channel into a series of percolation basins.
For the groundwater?
For groundwater recharge.
We got it, sir.
We got
to get that done now. I mean, is there time before February?
No. And one of the issues we have is the Santa Ana River is inhabited by the Santa Ana sucker, a protected fish.
Okay.
And
so would the diversion, by definition, put the fish at risk?
Arguably, no, but the regulatory agencies want much detail. In any permitting, they may want some specific mitigation, creation of new habitat. For the Santa Ana sucker, for reasons I don't completely understand, they have decided the regulatory agencies, have decided that the portions of the Santa Ana River that do not have water in them are habitat for fish.
And who are those agencies? Would this be
It's the U.S. Fish and Wildlife primarily.
US,
Yes.
not California.
Yeah, it's a federally protected species, protected in California as well, but the driver is at the federal level.
I wanted to ask you about the groundwater, though. I understand that here in the Inland Empire, some of the earth is so hard after 4 years of drought that it will be literally impossible for some of this water that can come to percolate down. Is there anything that can be done? Can we create holes or something? Or, you till the fields and you create aerated or?
It's difficult to do that. It's the high clay content soils that tend to be harder for water to percolate through. But we do have good groundwater recharge naturally in much of the area. We have a fair amount of relatively porous soils.
Okay.
The drainage area of the Santa Ana, within the banks, is pretty permeable. So I think if we have a really wet winter, we'll get some good recharge benefit.
What about mudslides, though? As I mentioned
There's
earlier,
always possibility of mudslides. Riverside itself a little less than some of the areas.
It's
Burn
just because
areas,
of topography?
Yeah, we're in Riverside, we're more flat.
Right.
Most of the surrounding mountains and hills are on the edges of the city, not in the city.
I understand.
But particularly areas where there's been a recent burn and you don't have vegetation to slow the water flow any longer, that's a real problem.
But I feel as if there have not been many wildfires in this area. Am I correct? I'm just trying to remember.
Not real
there
close
was the
to
North
Riverside.
Fire in Victorville, but that's pretty far away.
It's a ways off.
Right.
Actually within the city and the immediate environs, we've been pretty lucky, partly because we didn't grow as much in the last few years because of the drought to burn.
At the same time, though, we are still in drought.
No question.
And even if we have a huge El Nino, it won't be enough to make up 4 years of drought. And so how is Riverside doing as it relates to conserving? We have this 25% statewide mandate. I know Riverside's looking to give itself a 4%.
Riverside's goal that was set for us was 28%. We have an argument over that, but we are almost at our 28%. We hit about 23% our first month. We've exceeded 28% in our succeeding months. Our average is a little over 27%, so we're close.
Right.
On our running average.
And so is the state coming down on you because
they're okay with
enough.
what we've done, and they're working with our utility to make sure that we are offering everything that people can think of for us to offer. They have not had a lot of suggestions of things that we hadn't already looked at, but we're open to other ideas always.
What do you do, though, as a leader in this city to remind folks that even if we do have this El Nino, and even if it starts to rain, we still need to engage in conservation because the last 4 years was so severe. And also, if this El Nino doesn't go far enough north, we still will be in trouble.
We really rely on snowpack.
Yeah, and we don't have snowpack. Yeah, and it's northern snowpack.
It is.
It's not the mountains right outside.
Yeah, it's not our local mountains.
Right, and so how do you convince them to keep conserving?
We've done a number of things. One is the city tries to set a good example itself. We've replaced a lot of turf.
The medians.
Yeah, the medians and things, and even around City Hall and places like that.
Right.
We've taken turf out of parks and replaced it with other kind of planting. So we try to do that, and the utility is sending regular reminders to our customers. On November 1st, we go from allowing watering of outdoor planting from 3 days a week to 2 days a week. And postcard came out just recently.
Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Brad Pomerance. He's Mike Gardner. It's Charter Local Edition.